What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your host here, Dano, giving you guys the fire content that you deserve and that you're craving for. If you give me 10 minutes, I promise you'll stay for the entire hour because we're going to be talking about how to change the world. And yes, I know that is a loaded question that a lot goes into it, but we're going to dissect it piece by piece. But I'm not going to be able to do it without you guys. So make sure you bring your positive energy, questions, and comments so we can attack this episode of Weekly Dose of Dano. Let's get into it, everybody.
Takes a village about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. I just want to give a quick shout out. Josh, thank you so much for commenting this. Sixers, I think we're going to take it. I think we're going to take it all the way. I just don't think that the Celtics have the mind capacity, funny enough, to order to, bring it together so they can get a win. Because I'm going to be honest, I do think on paper that they do have the better team. Like they're, they have a deeper bench and, their star power is a little bit better than ours. But it's all about the mindset and how you go into it, right? I mean, yesterday, Joel Embiid, Harden, all these guys, we were locked in playing as a team, and we actually blew them out of their water, at their home court. So I think we will win this one all the way. And I will go on record to say I have a friend that's a Celtics fan. So, Renee, I'm calling it right now. Once we beat you guys, you're going to begin a phone call for me just rubbing it in your face. But that's just what we do, So I agree. Do you have a prediction on if we're going to win in game 6 or 7, Josh? Let me know what you think. If you have a score prediction as well, let me know if you got that as well, if you're that deep into it. Thank you for dropping that hashtag positivity posse. Bring out the sledgehammers. We got to breach some doors and walls. 1,000% we got to breach some of the doors and walls in our mind that are kind of reinforced to think a certain type of way, which is either in the negative factor or if we need to, come together and break down those walls. That's what we're doing here all weekly dose of Dano. As you already know, we do week in and week out. Winning tonight, 120-97. You heard it here first. I don't know if you got the script, if it's leaked, but I love that answer. Yes, I do think we're gonna win tonight as well. I don't have a prediction. I don't know if we're gonna drop 120. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's gonna be a close game. I'm gonna say 110 to 105 is my prediction. Oh, he's even taking it a step further to say Harden's gonna drop 27 points, 14 assists. I like that. That's actually a solid stat line. I'm gonna Yeah, I would agree with that too. Maybe a little less on the assist because I think he might have to be in more of the performer role. Because I think he needs to be that scorer caliber player in order to win. Joel 47 points. Hey, why not? Jokic dropped 51 the other night, and he's not even the MVP, right? So what can the MVP do? He might drop 52. Who knows? Get even more than see. The only thing is you got to worry about his knee and staying healthy and all that good stuff too. But anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about how we can change the world. And yes, I know, like I said earlier, that is a loaded question. But if we take the small steps and we actually chop that down to the fundamentals on how we can change it, big things can start to happen. And it may not be every single person in the world because not everybody's going to be ready for what you got to drop and, all the great things that you're going to be leading by. But if we can impact just one person, that one person can impact the next two, and then that two, the next 10, and 10 to 100, and so on and so forth. And depending, you never even know what a smile or what your words, how we can help the next person. I mean, if you let's say in those 10 people, they're very influential people, you can reach 1,000, you can reach 100,000, and with the power of social media, you can reach more and more. And that's what the beauty about it is, if you want to see it that way. Maxi 25 points. Well, we'll have to see tonight. We'll see in a few hours. I think the game's at 7:30. So here you can enjoy your weekly dose of Dano, and then you can go check out the game. I believe it starts at 7:30 as well. But I have the same prediction. I think the Sixers will win for tonight. So you already know what we got to do before we get into the mind-changing, life-changing content for the week. What's the saying? It says we're having trouble streaming to your destination. I wonder why that is. I've never gotten that before, but hey, things happen, right? We just got to keep on going with it and putting a smile on our face, just like we do with life and everyday things. Because I know there's probably something that you're battling right now, and there's stuff that I'm going through right now that nobody really wants to hear about it anyway. Nobody wants to hear about your problems or anything. Like, yes, if you have a friend, it's great to call that friend and there'll be those ears for you. But just roll through with it. Find the positive perspective on everything. Because I was actually having a conversation about this the other day with a friend of mine. We stayed up till 5:30 in the morning talking about this stuff. But I firmly believe that no matter what you go through, something as serious as, get into a fight or maybe losing your house or whatever it is, there's always a bright side to everything. And I'm not saying that everything in your life is going to be rainbow and sunshine and everything's going to be perfect. Of course not, because that's just not really realistic. But when you understand that you can find the silver lining and the positive side and you focus on that, more great things will come into your life. And you know that once you focus on that positive, you can get through anything and everything that happens into your life. I mean, think about all the things already in your lifetime that you've encountered that has gotten you to this point in this time and space that we're speaking right now. You've lived an entire lifetime of battles and you fought through it. So this one is no different to whatever you're going through right now. Just focus on the positives. Ignore whatever nonsense or drama tries to come into your life, and great things will start to manifest for you because it's the law of attraction, right? And I believe in the Bible they talk about that. If you believe in, the spiritual stuff, the Bible, whatever you believe in, they say as a man thinketh is what he becomes, right? And I'm twisting the words around a little bit, but because I don't know the exact verbiage, but it's basically what you are in your heart, you are going to become, and great things will start to happen to you. So if you're operating from a place of love and happiness and positivity, those things will be attracted into your life. But if not, then that's why you're here right now. We're going to be talking about some of the different ways and strategies that we can help change the world. Because once we, even with this question about changing the world, we have to start within ourselves. And once we start within ourselves, we can, like I said earlier, affect other people, and the change will happen that way as well. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the affirmation for happiness for today. Here it is. I feel like we've done this one very recently, but I'm gonna do two of them for today. So maybe this might not be for me, but this might be for somebody watching. So here it is, number 103. Today is another opportunity for happiness. No matter what happened yesterday, last week, or the year before, today is a brand new slate. I've been blessed with yet another chance to enjoy, play, create, and love. Every moment is new. Every moment is new, excuse me. I can choose joy at any time. So I see why this one has been selected for today. Like I said, it's never really random. It always happens the way that it needs to happen. And that's what everything in our life, right? But with this affirmation for today, I'm going to go back to the beginning where it says, no matter what happened yesterday, last week, or the year before, today is a brand new slate. And I feel like when it comes to moving forward and moving past whatever barrier we need to break through, we kind of refer to our past with anything really. Like, think about a restaurant that you've eaten at, you maybe had a bad experience. You're not going to want to go there based on one bad experience that you had that happened maybe 10 years ago. I'm not saying that you need to go through there, again to experience that same thing. But who's to say that if you take that same route and if you experience, that same experience, that it's going to happen the same way, right? It's the same thing with a lottery ticket. Just because you scratched 100 more lottery tickets in the past and none of them are winners doesn't mean that this next one is not going to be the jackpot. And I'm not talking about gambling. I'm just talking about anything that happens in our life, right? Like, just because last month you weren't able to hit your new personal record on bench doesn't mean that this time, when you're feeling good, the pump is feeling good, you ate well, that you're not going to be able to do it this time. This time you might be able to get 3, 4, or 5. So the point is, don't base future or current experiences on what happened in the past. And I know when it comes to people, that can be another one where you've seen somebody with, similar patterns that you've had in an ex, let's just say, and you met somebody new and they're exhibiting the same patterns or characteristics. Don't hold that new person that you just met by that same standard. I'm not saying to ignore it. Obviously, you got to be aware and be mindful of it. But that doesn't mean that just because it happened to you in the past doesn't mean that it's going to happen to you in the same exact manner. And that can go with anything as well. So that's why I was that one. But I'm feeling inspired to do another one for today, and I think it's going to be this one. All right, here it is. Number 172. I allow myself to see the miracles all around me. Every breath I take is its own tiny miracle. I'm ready to start noticing these miracles in my daily life so I can give this life the proper thanks that it deserves. It's a miracle to be alive. What more do I need to be happy? 1000%. And I've been reading this book, and it's the audio book, but it's called The War of Art. And it actually talks about the same premise. I allow myself to see the miracles all around me. Just because something happens to you very often doesn't undermine the fact that it's a miracle, right? Like, take the sun rising, for example. I believe that's the one that they use in the book, but it's a great example, so I'm going to use it as well. Just because the sun rises every single day doesn't mean that it's not a miracle. And I think frequencies and miracles, they don't go hand in hand, right? Just the fact that we woke up today and just the fact that we're existing right now and that we're sharing this moment is another miracle. And don't take that for granted, because I feel like a lot of people can start to do that, right? If we have running water, if we have the ability to pay our bills, if we have, a car that works, lights, so many different things to be grateful for. And these are all miracles as well, because number one, there's other people that may not have that same miracle that you do. And a miracle doesn't always have to be like life changing. Like I said, just the fact that the sun rose today and that, everything is in alignment with the planets and that we're still here. I think that is also a miracle that we don't really, take the time to consider every day. But just because it happens every day doesn't make it any less of a miracle, if that makes sense. And there's so many things to be grateful for. So I think that's what we need to start, looking at and being mindful of. So Josh says, Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Happy early Mother's Day. Yes. Let me know what you guys are doing. If you have any great ideas for somebody that might need a last minute Mother's Day gift or idea, drop it in the comments so you might be helping out somebody else and preserving their relationships with their mother as well. I know for me, I already have everything that I have mapped out for Mother's Day for, the weekend. So you're not going to be helping me out. I know I ain't trying to be slick. I already got it planned out, but thank you. And a big shout out to the mothers for Mother's Day, because everybody that came into this world had to come through a mother as well. And that's another miracle, the miracle of birth, right? Which not everybody gets to enjoy. Just because it happens, millions and millions of times in a day doesn't take away, it doesn't undermine the beauty and the miracle of birth and bringing new life into this world as well. So thank you, Josh, for that. It was a great point, great point. So now we're going to be talking about everything that you guys have come here to talk about, which is what can we do to change the world? And like I said, I have 5 different ways and ideas and strategies in order to make this happen. Because like I said, you're not going to be able to change every single person on this planet. Number one, because we're not going to have that reach. And number two, not everybody is going to be able to conceive or maybe resonate with all the great things that you have to say and the great strategies. But that's okay, because as long as you're doing your best, and it really boils down to this one bottom line idea, is that we can't be focused on everything that happens in our outside world in the 3D sense, right? We really have to focus on what goes on within ourselves, because I think the best way to do it is by leading by example. Don't think that people that, you don't think that they're watching. Everybody's always watching. Now, is it to the degree where they're stalking your page? Probably not. But everybody is mindful of the things that you do. And if you have, eyes and attention on you, you have to be that example to lead by it, because you're going to be impacting these people whether you realize it or not. And then also at the same token, you never know who's watching at the same time. And there have been people in my life that I had no idea were paying attention to me, and even my show right now. And they said, "Hey, listen, like, your show has saved my life." And I was like, "What?" Like, I'm just going live, talking with my positivity posse 100%, Nancy, right here. Just talking with you guys and sharing how I live life, and just the fact that it was able to help out other people in their time of need. That's what I'm saying. You just never know the power of your words and the power of your actions. So that's what we really need to understand. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing what goes on inside of us, being mindful of it, being the gatekeepers of what comes in and what comes out, and staying strong and having faith as well within yourself and a higher being. And then, everything else is going to take care of itself. I promise you. I promise you. And the reason that I promise is because I've experienced it and I lived it. I'm living proof. I've seen what it's like to not really take care of what goes on the inside, mind, body, spirit, everything like that. And, since I've flipped everything and started to practice more on, personal development and working on our minds, I've seen a world of a difference. So if I can do it, you guys can do it as well. So let's talk about the first thing that we need to talk about in order to answer this question right here. What do we need in order to change the world? Well, this is in no particular order, but the first one that I would recommend is accepting that we cannot change everyone, right? Because if you go into it thinking that you will be able to change everyone that you meet, or even the ones that you don't meet, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because not everybody's going to be ready for the things that you have to offer, right? All we can do is suggest or, recommend what we do in order to help everybody else see that as well, right? Because like I said, when you can believe something so much and have so much faith in it, but not everybody has the same ideology. Not everybody sees the world the same way as you do, right? There's people who see the world as a really bad place, and there's people who see the world as a really beautiful place. So if you're trying to impose your will and your ideas and your beliefs onto somebody else, you might be, counterproductive in everything that you're trying to do. So that's not really a good strategy. All we can do is suggest to them, say, "Hey, listen, instead of thinking about it from a negative point of view, let's flip it to a positive point of view," right? And it's easier said than done, because there's some times where people, they just don't want to hear it, and they're not going to be receptive to anything that you have to say. But as long as you plant the seed and you let the universe or God or whatever you believe in grow that seed, then that is what's going to happen. And you just leave it into stuff that is bigger than us, that the powers that are bigger than us to be. Like I said, except that we cannot change everyone. Some people aren't ready, and we can't be worried about anyone else. And that's what everything that I'm going to say here. It's always worried about what you have going on and refining yourself. And that's the baseline for everything that we're going to be talking about. So that's my first tip to you. Just we can't change everyone. And it's a sad truth of the world. It's the way that it is. But If you're spitting so much fire to everybody and everybody's just cold, or I could even say to you like this, there's a great quote that I can use. It's you can be the sweetest apple on the tree, but not everybody likes apples, right? And they may agree with everything that you have to say, but there's some people who are just kind of haters, and if they don't like you, they're not going to listen to anything that you have to say. So it's just really important to understand that all you have to do is just spread out that word, spread your truths, help them see it in a different light, and a more productive, positive light, and not spread the hate. And then you have to be okay with doing your best and knowing that just by you saying something and speaking up and trying to help this person out, that might be all that you can do. And if that's your best, that's what you have to be happy with and proud of, and just keep it pushing. So, like I said, that's the first one. So number two on what we can do to change the world is, I think we need to lead by example, right? And if you have any comments or your suggestions or strategies, please drop them in the comment section, because this is not just you listening to me, and no, this is an interactive experience, and I want to hear about your ideas, because you might tell me something that I don't even know, right? And we can talk about it and expand on it. So yeah, I think we should lead by example, and it's so important to start with yourself, because how are you supposed to help somebody who's sick if you're a sick person, right? How are you supposed to help somebody get rich if you're not a rich person? It's not going to happen that way. And I think people nowadays are receptive of that, right? I believe, like, why would I listen to you if I'm trying to be a millionaire and you don't even have, a dollar to your name? Why would I listen to you? You obviously don't know what you're talking about. You haven't taken the strategies and the time and the practice to achieve that $1 million. And it doesn't have to be necessarily in the monetary or the physical sense as well. It can be somebody with happiness. If you see, we see it all the time, where people will go on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and they swear that they're the happiest person in the world, and everything is going great for them. But when you really talk and connect with this person, you realize, oh shoot, you have no idea what you're talking about. And why would you listen to somebody that's living one way, saying one thing, but living another way? It's all about looking at people's actions, because I firmly believe that everybody reveals their cards to you. Now, whether you choose to see those cards and accept them, or if you want to justify their actions and say, oh, well, I'm going to glance over that red flag, or I'm going to do this and do that. That's not the way that we need to do it, because it's not going to get us to that next level, so to speak, that we need to get to as well. So it all starts with ourselves. We can only control what we can control. And I think that's kind of hard to do, because if somebody's doing something that we don't like, we kind of want to change them in a sense to say, hey, well, you're upsetting me because you're not doing the thing that I want you to do, which is not really fair. But, we need to understand that we can only control ourselves, because why would you try to focus on something that you can't control? What's going on, Lou? And I know this was a big one as well. This was kind of hard. I know the biggest example that I can use is video games, right? I used to get mad if if I actually lost, because I couldn't control the outcome. Like, I was playing the best, I was doing all the strategies, and that's the thing that actually video games has taught me, is you can't worry about the things that you can't control. As long as you're there, having a good time and doing, just relaxing and having fun, that's really all that matters. And that's why I love the example video games for me. But it's like I said, it taught me the idea and the value of we can only control what we control as well. And when we know that we work on our inner portions of everything, everything on the outside will start to follow, right? So leading by example means that when we work on our inner self and we're doing the reflections and we're doing the meditations and we're changing our points of view, so that when something challenging comes at us, we go from it, we go at it from a different angle. Everything on the outside will start to reflect that changes. People will start to come into your life that you would have never thought to look or never thought to attract into your life. And, I'm very grateful to the people that I have in my circle, because I know that since I'm working on myself, these same people are doing the same things. And, they kind of help me see the things that I maybe have been blind to, or, because when you're in it, you're in the smoke and mirrors, and you're not going to catch every single thing. That's why it's very important to have those surrounding people around you to make sure that we are, striving and looking at it from a good sense as well. Hello, Carmen. Thank you for dropping that as well. You guys are absolutely amazing and killing it in the positivity posse. Thank you guys for doing that. But like I said, we need to lead by example, and that goes with starting with yourself. We can only control what we can control, and which is ourselves. And understand that when we have that interchange and that mind, body, and spirit, then everything that follows is going to reflect that change. I promise you. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. You don't have to believe me, but I encourage you to try it for yourself. And start with it in the very early in the morning. Just while you're brushing your teeth, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm excited. Ask life. I say, hey, life, universe, whatever it is that you're going through, I want to experience all the good things that this world has to offer. And say it in the mirror maybe 10 to 15 to 20 times and actually believe it, and watch the changes that'll happen into your life. You'll have somebody maybe buy you a cup of coffee, or you have somebody to support your business. There can be a million different things, and it's not up to me to figure out what it's going to be. It's up to you to ask for it and then be aware and conscious of the changes that start to happen. And let me tell you this, once it does start to happen and you do see the changes, don't be surprised. Like, don't say, oh, well, that was a coincidence, or that was something lucky that happened. There are all these different things to try to take us off. That's just kind of us fooling ourselves, because it's right there in front of you. If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it talks like a duck, then or quacks like a duck, you know what I mean? Then it's a duck, right? So don't try to make it into something else. When you ask for these great changes to happen in your life, and then they do start to happen, don't psych yourself out to say, oh, well, it's just coincidence, what a lucky guess, or whatever it may be, because then that's just you not accepting the power that you do have and the word that you do have. Here it is, do what you can and let God do the rest. And 1000%, we can't control the outcome of everything that happens into our life. And like I said earlier, with the book that I've been reading, is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Highly, highly recommend, because it talks about resistance, and it talks about, doing your best and doing what you can, and letting, the other forces, the higher forces, do the rest. It's so important, because if you're doing something with the sense of you want to, a lot of money to come from it, or you want an exchange for the thing that you're doing, then you're doing it from a place of greed, right? So the best way that I can equate this is, let's say it's my birthday. My birthday's coming up and your birthday's coming up. If I buy you a gift for your birthday with the expectation, or just doing it because I want a gift in return, is that really genuine? No, not at all, because you're doing it with the expectancy of something in return. And it's the same thing of whatever you got to do, or whatever you're doing right now. If you're doing something within your purpose, it's about how you do it, right? Because if you're doing it with something in return, I think that's kind of the dominant energy there, or the dominant vibration is greed. And we all know greed is not a great thing. And don't get me wrong, obviously, if you're putting in your time doing something, you want, to see something in return. But don't let that be the only thing dominating whatever it is that you're doing. Not just because you want something in return, but just because you're doing it for the love of it, and that's maybe your purpose. And you can talk to so many people, if you don't believe me, of not always getting something in return. Talk about people who donate or volunteer their times, right? The other day I was at the animal shelter, and there was the guy there, he says he volunteers every single day, and he doesn't really get paid for it, right? Just the fact that he's doing that without expecting anything in return. Number one, that doesn't mean great things are going to happen to him. He can be blessed by, having good health, or he can have, monetary, if that's what he wants, that there might be something that somebody can donate to him at the end of the year. Not, there's a million different ways that you're going to be inspired and benefit from it. But don't just do something just for the expectation of something in return. I know, like, if we work our jobs, it's a little bit different, because you're going in there and you're not working for free, right? But that's a little bit different. I'm really talking about when it comes to your purpose and your mission and your journey, and to discover why it is that we came here on this earth, to figure out whatever it is that reason is. So yeah, I just wanted to drop that in there for you guys. Here it is, absolutely 100%. I'm glad you agree. And Nancy or Lou or Carmen or Josh, if you guys, whatever you got to let me know, or whatever advice that you have on what we can do to change the world, please, or anybody else watching right now, please just drop it. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Like I said, it's not just me talking at you guys. This is an interactive experience, and I'm really looking forward to all of the great things that you have to say. And, it might be a new perspective and a new idea that I need to hear about. And maybe there's somebody watching that you might you might inspire them. So we're just gonna play a quick word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. Like, share, do whatever you have to do to raise your vibrations, because we're gonna keep it going, keep it rocking, keep it smooth, and keep it steady with some more weekly dose of Dano after word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. So everybody, we're back with some more fire content. You already know what we're doing, talking about how we can change the world. And thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring the Weekly Dose of Dano platform. Really appreciate you guys. Big ups to you. So, like I said, so we talked about number one, we cannot change everyone. That's my first piece of advice in order to, change the world. Because when we do it in the very beginning, we're probably over ambitious and probably take off or think that we're going to do a lot more than what we can possibly do. But don't go into it thinking that way, because that is just going to lead us down a bad path. Just, accept that we can't change everybody. So number two is to lead by example. As we all know, I just got done talking to you guys about that. It all starts within ourselves. And once you lead by example, other people can know that it is possible as well to do or achieve anything that you want to do. Think about all the times that somebody has says, "Oh, that's not possible," or that record will never be broken when it comes to sports. Then somebody comes along and breaks that record as well. So it's very important to understand that when we lead by example, it just shows that it can be accomplished and how we can accomplish it. And when other people see that, they'll feel inspired to do it, and it'll just lead down a great path as well, just because you had the courage and the confidence to do whatever it is that you set out to do and to hold that commitment to yourself as well. So the third thing that I think that we need to do in order to change the world, if that's what we want to do, is we need to follow our purpose and our calling. And I know this is not an easy one, because a lot of people think they might not have the time to, follow their heart or their passion or their purpose or their calling. But that's not really true. We always make time for the things that we want in our life, right? And I know we've probably heard that when it comes to dealing with other people. And, it's like, hey, well, if that person wanted to call you and text you, they would have made the time to do it. And it's the same thing with following our purpose and our calling. If there's something that's been gnawing at you and has been coming up repeatedly, it's maybe like words that you've been talking inside of yourself, or maybe external signs to kind of push you and, lead you towards that purpose. Don't be afraid of it. Understand that everything happens for a reason. And if you it may not come around to you, or it may come around to you the first time and you choose not to accept it. But if it's coming around again, there's a reason for it, and you need to explore what that reason is. It might be something that you've been asking for a really long time, or you might discover new talent that you may have not known about yourself, which is on the path of self-mastery and self-discovery, which is a beautiful path as well. So many different things go along with this. So just make sure that you are taking the steps to do whatever it is that you do, and please don't care what anybody else is saying about you or whatever it is, because there's a market for everything, right? I know when it comes to like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or if there's like go-karting, or no matter how niche it is, like, building a boat to go, ride on the Louisiana River, whatever it may be, however niche it may be, there's other people that are interested in the same things that you are, and you never know where those paths might take you. So just make sure that you are following your purpose and your calling, because it doesn't matter what anybody else is going to do or say. I think it's really important to understand what I'm about to tell you right now. Whatever people are going to say and however they try to break you down or whatever negative thing they have to say about you, as long as you have the confidence within yourself to follow it, these people are jealous of you because they don't have the confidence to follow their own calling or the confidence to follow or the belief in themselves to follow their own vision and their own path. And they're always going to be jealous of you because you have something that they want, which is that self-confidence, and you have that desire to be the greatest version of yourself. And not everybody has that. And it's all right. There's you don't have to shame these people. You don't have to, fight them. You just say, okay, if that's how you feel, that's all right. But I'm still gonna do whatever it is that I need to do. And sometimes these people that are doing that are gonna be a lot closer to you than what you think. It might be a relative, it might be, your mom, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt. It can be anybody, your significant other. But if there's something that you really want to do, just go for it, because you never know what paths might lead you down and where your life is going to take you, and great, beautiful things will happen if you start to go down that journey and to really follow whatever your intuition's telling you. So here it is. Thank you, Jeanette, for being here right now. Hashtag positivity posse. You guys are amazing. 100%. Always, week in, week out. And like I said, you guys are doing this with, my show and Weekly Dose of Dano. If you're only coming in, showing up every single day to, every Thursday, not every single day because we're not live every day, but every single Thursday, if you guys are coming here and supporting, I can only imagine what you guys are facing and what you're showing up to every single day in your own life, right? Because as we all know, what we do in small things, we do in all things. So if you're doing this for me, I know that you guys are being warriors out there and showing up to whatever life has to throw at you, whether it's positive or negative. And I just really love that, man. It really warms my heart just to feel that and to be a part of it. So thank you guys for that as well. Yes, let your shine, no matter who doesn't like it, let it shine 100%. And, the thing that you said right there is let your light shine. And when I think of that, I think of a candle. And if you have somebody that's, their candle is dim and it's not even on, when your candle is on, think about it. When you you've probably seen it so many times at birthday events where they'll light one candle and then they'll take that candle. This is the one that's lit and this is the one that's out. Then they'll put it to the one that's unlit. And now you guys are both, shining bright and being bright. So that's what it's all about too. You might inspire someone to help follow whatever dream or goal it is that they want to do. And then that person could be the one who impacts the millions or the hundreds of millions or whatever it is. Even if it's just thousands, it doesn't matter. You're helping lead by example, and you're helping other people find their light as well, just by you playing the cello or learning how to ride a bike or whatever it is that you want to do. You just never know how you might impact the next person as well. So going along with, finding your purpose and your calling, make sure that you're trying everything. Don't be so closed-minded or nervous or shy to do whatever it is that you want to do. Because I know a lot of people do think that just because you're starting out at the bottom or something that you don't really have experience with, you have to think about all the greats that have done everything that they've accomplished. They had to start somewhere, right? And even with, my show, Weekly Dose of Dano, in the very beginning, once you guys have known, the first episode that we've ever had wasn't like this. This took, practice and refinement and a lot of energy and time to go into it. So don't be afraid just because you're just starting out with something that other people are going to make fun of you, or if you're going to fail or mess up, because you will. I mean, I've done it. Everybody's done it. So don't be afraid and don't be nervous about it. Just understand that that's leading you to, a sharper skill or a sharper dream or a sharper goal. And that's what it's all about, right? Taking that leap of faith. And another thing too, the people that are truly there and people that may be more advanced than you, I've seen it all the time in the gym. People that are more advanced than you are never going to make fun of you. They want to help you get to that next level, right? And like I said, I've seen it in the gym so many times. You don't see people that are lifting 500 pounds. You don't see them making fun of somebody that's lifting 20 pounds or 100 pounds. No, they're always the ones that are like, hey, man, good job. Keep going. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, if you go to those people who have been doing it longer than you and maybe better than you in a sense, if you go up to them and ask them for advice, I promise you, they're going to give you advice, because those are the ones, like, the people that are doing better than you are never going to make fun of you. It's always the people that are not trying, or maybe, not to compare to say better or worse. They've just been longer in the journey is the correct way that I should say it. But the people that are going to make fun of you, the ones that are not doing it at all, or maybe they don't even have as much experience as you, they may be jealous of what you have to do, what you have been doing. So you don't pay them any mind. And like I said, just try everything. Number one, you got to follow your intuition, which is hard to do. I'm not saying that it's easy, but if there's something that's coming to you, whether it's a thought, whether it's a dream, a person, a sign, be mindful of it and don't just discredit it and throw it off to the side. Understand that it's coming to you for a reason, and you might be queued up to receive whatever it is that you've been asking for, right? If you ask for $100,000 and somebody comes to you and say, hey, well, I think you should go to this spot. Don't just completely disregard that person and be so focused on the dream that you've got it. Like you're putting your blinders up and say, no, it has to come this way. I'm not going to accept anything else. Don't be, living life, or don't live life with your blinders up, because you never know where that path might take you. So always be receptive and open to what people have to say. Now, that's not to say, accept what everybody has to say. You have to discern and be mindful that not everything that's going to come to you is going to be for your greatest good, because there's some things that are going to be designed to, trip you up along the way. It's just what it is. But when you have that discernment and you have that, better judgment, just take that into consideration and understand that it needs to come into your life, so that, these great things will start to play out for you. And the things that you have been asking for, will transpire and manifest into your life. So I want to hear this one right here. Nancy says, you're always going to have haters that are jealous of you just because you're following your dreams or your purpose, and because they're not 100%. Because let's talk about that. I mean, how much confidence do you have to have and betting on yourself, so to speak, just to follow your dreams? Because that's a hard thing to do. Not everybody does it. I would love to figure out, or I would love to find a number or percentage of people that actually have the courage to follow their dreams or their passions, because I know that number is not a lot. But yes, I agree with you. There's so many different reasons why somebody might be jealous of you. Just understand that if they're jealous, that means you're doing something right. As long as you're not doing anybody any wrong, obviously, but if they're jealous of you, that means you're doing something right. So you should go and keep on that right path, because that might be another form of resistance as well, which is what the War of Art talks about in Stephen Pressfield's book, which is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend it. Go read that book. But it talks about resistance coming to you in so many different ways, forms, and fashions, right? The bigger the dream and the bigger goal that you do have that you want to accomplish, the more resistance will come into your life as well. And you don't have to focus on that resistance. You can understand that there is a path, understanding that there is a path of least resistance as well. Let me take away this banner. It's been up there for a minute. There is a path of least resistance, and understand, even though these things may come to you, number one, don't focus on them, because when you focus on them, it's just going to grow, and other things, you're just opening that door for other things of that same energy to come into that door. And number two, it doesn't have to be very difficult. When you understand that there is a path of least resistance, and you're saying that everything, you're telling yourself the mantra or the affirmation of everything that comes into my life is for my greatest benefit, and that the people in my life are going to lead me to the right direction. And like I said earlier, if you believe in a higher power, that the universe or the higher power is leading me to that right direction, those are the affirmations that you need to tell yourself, so that when you start to believe it, those are the things that you can focus on, and it will lead you down the right path as well. So many important factors and so many great things that come along with affirmations. We'll have another episode about that if you want me to, because I know I've talked about that before, but I don't think I've had an entire episode dedicated to it as well. So like I said, when it comes to changing the world, we need to follow our purpose and our calling. Number one, we need to try everything. Number two, we need to follow our heart. And number three, this is very important right here. I'm going to put this back up. To follow our purpose and our calling, you need to stop putting things off. Stop saying, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to the gym tomorrow. Or, I'll do some research on my dream or my goal tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised to you, right? Isn't that what they say in the Rocky movie? There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. stop putting things off, because when you think about it, the more that you put something off, the more that you're delaying your reward to come from that action that you're taking. Because yes, it may happen where that you'll take that action and the reward that you're looking for will happen right away. It can happen that way, yes. Now, is it going to happen that way every single time? Probably not. So the more, you don't know how long you're putting off your reward by delaying whatever it is that you need to start. So if you delay, starting your business or following your heart or your dream or your calling by 1 month, that might be 1 year setback for your rewards. That might be 3 years, a 10-year setback to your reward. So you never really know what delay or what price you're paying for your reward. So that's not good if you're, constantly putting off what you need to put off. So, make sure you're avoiding that pitfall as well. We're actually going to play a quick word from our sponsors again. Let me take away this banner so it's not up there for 30 minutes at a time. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, like, share, do whatever you got to do, because we're almost out of time for this episode already. Gee, 6:50. Wow, this has been flying by. But like I said, don't go anywhere. Do whatever you got to do to make sure that you are raising your vibrations. We're just going to play a quick word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving, and let's keep it flowing, my people. My positivity posse, as I should say. Golden Nuggets, thank you. I appreciate it. That's what we're here for, just to give you guys another perspective. And if you have any Golden Nuggets, well, thank you for dropping your perspectives as well. Because like I see, you guys are blowing it up in the chat right now, which I really do appreciate. So thank you for sharing your Golden Nuggets as well with me. So it says, yes, tomorrow's not promised to anyone, so start today and don't put it off until tomorrow. Like I said, you never know how much of a price you're sacrificing and paying by putting it off until tomorrow. And we'll never know. I don't think that we'll ever know, because if we did know how much we're sacrificing or what price we are paying or how much we are delaying our reward, then I don't think we would continue to do that very often. Because if you did know, you don't really need to know all the time, because that's what will be the point of having faith, right? You just got to have faith that everything that you're doing is taking you to where you want to be. And if you were to know every single answer with life, I think that would kind of be boring. And like I said, stop putting it off. Stop putting it off no matter what. So we got two more ideas that I want to talk about into how we can change the world. And here it is with number 4: have the courage to succeed. And I know a lot of people, I don't know why, and here it is. When it comes to having the courage to succeed, I know a lot of people don't think that when it comes to succeeding, that they have the power to do it. And some people might be afraid of success, right? And I think a big reason why people might be afraid of success is because number one is discovering what our true powers are, right? If everything that you said and you knew that you were accountable for everything that you've done and you had the power to live whatever kind of life you want, there's a lot of responsibility in that and a lot of, accountability in that, because right now, everything that you've learned or everything that you experience or everything that, whatever position that you are in right now in your life, if you think that, well, Well, yeah. Well, let's take that example. So wherever you are right now, in order to think that you've done that to yourself and you've caused that to yourself, there's a lot of accountability that comes with that. So I think that's why a lot of people are afraid to succeed. When it comes to like friends, when you do succeed, you probably think that you're not going to be rolling with the same people that were there with you from day one, which you're probably right, because even if these people aren't going to be with you for your entire journey, that's just leaving room for the people that are supposed to be there into your life, right? And don't ever feel guilty about succeeding or moving on to your dreams and to your goals, and all that stuff is very important because you're leaving room for the people that need to be there, and for you to learn life lessons within yourself that you might not have learned about yourself. And there's always a positive side to everything, and you already know that's what we talk about here. But it's really important to not be scared to succeed. Like I said before, don't worry about the naysayers. They have their own bundles of issues, and everything that people say and everything that people do is a reflection of themselves. So if you're so worried about them, number one, things of that same energy are going to grow and come to you in different ways. So stop focusing on that and stop worrying about other people to begin with. So that's, like I said, don't worry about the namesayers. Don't feed the negative people what they have to say, the energy. And like I said before, don't feel guilty about success, because when you are successful, you've proven to yourself that, hey, well, I can do this. Your self-confidence will grow up. Your belief in yourself will grow up. Your lessons that you've learned, your energy will start to rise and go to a higher vibration. And when we know that, when we go to a higher vibration and we're starting to live the great things that this life has to offer, whether it's an abundance of money or abundance of knowledge or an abundance of friends and good health and all this great energy, then more things will start to attract that way. So you'll start to attract better as well when we do succeed and have the courage to succeed as well. So all great things come from success, and just do it. Stop putting it off. Stop worrying about the wrong things. Stop saying that you don't have time. All of those are excuses, because we all have the same 24 hours in the day. I have the same 24 hours. You have the same 24 hours. Jeff Bezos has the same 24 hours. Even in the past, Albert Einstein had the same 24 hours. Martin Luther King had the same 24 hours. We all have the same amount of time. So stop making that excuse, because that's not really a great excuse to begin with anyway. We just got to repurpose it and find a better strategy or a new schedule, or allotting the proper time to make sure that we're achieving everything that we need to achieve as well. Oh, this is a big one right here. I'm loving it. All right, let's see. Wake up every morning and say and make a choice and decide that you're going to make a difference in someone's life that day, and you come into contact with. That's how you can make a difference, and maybe you will make their day if they're having a bad day. 100%. And I've known there was something that happened to me very recently, which I'm going to share a quick story with you. The other day, I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and I shared this story with you guys, but let me share it again just in case it's your first time hearing it. I went into Dunkin' Donuts, and it was the morning of an event that I had to go to, and the place was real empty. So I guess the guy at Dunkin' Donuts was having a bad experience or a bad morning or whatever, right? So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to let it affect me. Whatever. I'm just going to let it go. So the order that I had wasn't really that big because it was just for me. And I think I got like a box of Joe for a few other people that I needed to grab, for the event. So the guy starts working on my order. Somebody comes in. He just stops working on my order and, helping somebody else. Then he does that about 3 or 4 times. And, the guy, I'm starting to get pressed for time. And I asked the guy, I said, yo, what's going on with everything? And this is about like 20 minutes that have gone by. So it's like, what's going on? So I talked to the guy. He's like, oh, it's very busy. And he just gave me a lot of attitude and a lot of nasty energy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go outside. I'm not going to feed into it. And as I'm walking out, because I was going to snap on the guy, actually, but I removed myself. And as I'm walking out, there was some guy that was sitting at the table who gave me a real big, bright smile. And when I saw that smile, I was like, damn, like, why am I acting like this? So, I collect my thoughts and I go back inside and I'd say to the guy that was sitting down, I said, man, you have no idea how much as something as simple and small as a smile really just helped, get me back on track and, get me back on track and center and ground myself. So it's 100%, like you just said, you never know how you can impact somebody's day. This is something as simple as a smile. I know I've experienced that. and the great things that have come from that as well. So you just never know. So just keep being yourself and focus on the positive, man. I'm telling you, great things will start to come from that when you do focus on that. So we're on the last one for today. So let's do a quick little recap. Number one, accept that we cannot change everyone. This is in reference to what we can do to change the world. Number one, accept we can't change everyone. Number two, we got to lead by example. Number three, follow your purpose and your calling. Number four, have this courage to succeed. And then number five is right here. Stop worrying about the externals. Stop worrying about, bills. Stop worrying about, if you're going to be able to make the bills or, pay your bills or, stop worrying about everything that's going on the external, because everything has been designed to be a certain way that may not be in your favor. That's worried, if you focus on the outside, because we all know, like, personal finance, and there's so many different skills in school, right? I was having this conversation too the other day. There's so many skills in school that we do not learn, but it's all been designed that way to keep us, in a certain mindset and a certain way of thinking. But that's if we're all focused on the outside, and we're focused on the way that the world is, or maybe focus on the negative side of it, then that's just what's going to transpire in our lives. So stop worrying about the externals. The only thing that you have to worry on, or not even worry, because worry is a negative connotation as well. The only thing that you need to focus on is what's going on inside you. Remember, preserving your happiness. You're preserving. Then this pair just came out of nowhere. You're preserving your happiness. You're doing everything that you need to do to achieve your dreams and your goals. That's all you need to worry about, is what's going on the inside. And then, when you shift that focus from the external to the internal, you raise your vibrations. And we all know, as I'm going to show you in this chart right here, let me take this away. Stop worrying about the externals. I'm going to show you guys the chart one more time. Here it is. When you're at peace, love, and joy, and you're vibrating at that thing, at that vibration and at that consciousness, great things will start to happen to you as well. And like I said, you never know what's going to happen. So stop worrying about everything that's going on the outside. Stop worrying about what's going on in the news. Stop worrying about what people are saying about you. Stop worrying about the negative stresses of bills and, how you're going to, find your next meal, whatever it is. You've survived this far. Whatever you've been doing has gotten you this far. You're living, you're thriving. So stop worrying about what's going on the outside. If you come this far and you experience all of the great things that life has offered to you so far, all you need to do now is fix what's going on inside. So if you're experiencing all of these great things without worrying about what's going on the inside, when you do worry about, I got to stop saying worry, because I don't know why I keep saying that. When you're focused on what's going on the inside, then great things will happen in our outer 3D world. I promise you, I've lived it. Ask anybody who's done it and who's constantly working on themselves. They'll tell you the same exact thing. And if you don't believe what anybody has to say, then try it out for yourselves as well. Damn, so it's 7:01. I'm actually over what I have to go. Jeez. Well, I'm sorry. I was just in the moment. So I had to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for being here, dropping your golden nuggets. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing all of your, hearts and warms and, golden nuggets and your energy as well. Great show. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. Go Sixers. And, just make sure that we're making sure that we're focusing on what we need to focus on, which is our inner world. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace.